So much fire. Oh. You spin me right round, baby, right round. And since I don't think that anything can really top that intro, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Glacier Kano here today for another one-mad podcast type thingamajigger on the TheCanoCam. It's here again. It's been 4 months, but it happens when you're busy doing a radio practicum and so on. But that just means I have a lot of stories to tell, and it will 100% be like an hour long. Because I mean that's just the way things work. Fortunately and unfortunately enough, because I mean that's also the reason why I may or may not have just filmed the intro to the best of 2015. It had better lighting than this, surprisingly enough. I think it's because of the orange. It's becoming later in the day, so it's a bit more orange, like, that is getting reflected upward. Because you gotta raise the roof! But, yeah, like, the audio in that was really bad. I just went and listened to it. I'm just like, oh, man. Being anything with a producer in mind for radio, it makes me feel terrible. It just makes me feel terrible. That's why I'm just like snuggling up all nice and close to this microphone. Oh yeah. Because, it sounds better that way. It definitely sounds better than getting the airiness of this room and then I have to yell and it just like, what the heck is wrong with you? So, yeah, that's the way it is. But yeah, I don't know where I should actually start with my stories, but I have a whole list on my hand again because I am prepared. That and also I have some rants that I might just randomly talk about that I thought of. So I mean, like, before when I recorded the first TheCanoCam thing at this new apartment, that was when I was really, really new here, and I didn't go to shopping very much, but when I did now, there's some things around here that are different, to say the least, in Red Deer. I don't know, but let's start with happy things, okay? Happiness. I'm not going to be talking about my practicum thing until, like, later on, because, I mean, Christmas makes sense to start off with. Christmas and Star Wars, right? That's what I would be thinking, because, man, Christmas parties. Well, I guess it's been a little while past since there was Christmas parties, which also I want to note before I do anything forward that I figured out the way alcohol works. Is that, you do sober up, pretty quickly, blah, 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 but it still affects my brain for another, like, day or two afterward until, so I have to sober up completely to be able to think straight in, like, 2 days. It's just like, what? That's why, like, the last 3 days, well, I guess it was 2 days of work and then 1 day afterward, I was drinking 3 days in a row. Okay? It was that kind of thing. Because it was the Thursday, there were some ladies that came in, they're just like, hey, we have coffee, we have Baileys, we have Tortuga. I don't remember what it's called, it's some sort of alcohol thing. But it makes me think of that Pokemon. I think that's what it is actually called, something along those lines, and it evolves into Torterra. Yeah, probably not, but yeah, so they just kind of came into the studio, and we're just like, oh, yeah, are we allowed to drink? Because we just had to make sure that our bosses were fine with it. Because apparently, at the station that I was at, they used to drink a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but I mean, they drank more often, like at work, and they're just like, yeah, it's perfectly fine. As long as the work gets done, that's all that really matters, right? And, as long as you're not like, I'm drinking to get drunk right now, you can just have like a couple drinks here and there. It's fine. I bet that the Germans do that. They just have a beer during lunch and it's perfectly fine. So why can't we, right? I don't know why. At least they wouldn't be thinking that way, but I think that way. So, yeah, we had some coffee and Baileys. Kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing. Because, I mean, it woke me up that one day. Because, I mean, I was tired. Most days. Because, I mean, waking up at like 7:30 is pretty early for me when I go to sleep pretty late. Because I need a lot of sleep. I don't know about anybody else, but I need a lot of sleep. Like 9 or 10 hours. Maybe not 10 hours exactly, because I've figured that out like the past couple days where I'm kind of sleeping it all off and getting awake again, which is good. But I'd say like 9 hours. So yeah, I was a little bit tired, but coffee and Bailey's, it's good for waking you up, but it's just like afterward you just feel like and maybe not the best. Well, specifically like the next day, you just like don't feel very good because it's just like the combination of just like, I don't know what it is. It's the way the alcohol is. But anyway, the next day after that, it was the Christmas party actually at our station. So we just had a bunch of wine, and me being me, because I mean, it was my last day. It was my last day at work, so I'm just thinking, I'm just going to drink a few glasses of wine here. So I had quite a bit. Well, more than I probably should have at work. I mean, I sobered up enough, like, later on in the day, but, like, during lunchtime, I'm just like, oh, why did I do this? There's no way you can drink a certain amount and actually focus on work after that point. So, just no. Just no. Why did I do that? But then again, it was still my last day, so I mean, it's special. Absolutely special. And then the day after that, I drank again. Well, actually, I might want to... No, there's no reason to actually say anything to that. I'm just very indecisive about what I want to talk about, because there's just so much to talk about. And so, yeah, then the next day was the Christmas party, and, like, it was for both stations that I was staying at for my practicum, and they're just, like, a ton of people all come together, and that was definitely a night of drinking. To the point when I just, like, I came back to my apartment, and, like, I think I'm more observant when I am drinking or something like that, because I came back to my apartment and I'm just like, that on the wall, is that Chewie holding C-3PO with Jawas around? What? That is not canon at all. And I was just thinking that's so, like, what the heck? So, picture time. Yeah. I took that picture when I was drinking. So yeah, that was kind of the way it was, that I was drinking 3 days in a row, and I figured that out, is that it kind of messes with my ability to think and speak more than usual, of just like even multiple days afterward. You have to get your brain into the focus of being able to make videos again, because I mean that's where I am currently at this stage in my life, is that I'm done my practicum for radio, so I have to find a job on my own. But still, that's more to come later. I'm still talking about Christmas parties, so I wonder if maybe I should start more chronologically, because I'll start with a Christmas party at the station and then move to that one person's house the day after when I was done everything. So this Christmas party at the station, we had this kind of like Secret Santa thing. It's kind of like last year that I had a Secret Santa, but this year, I mean, I'm really amazed at how well it worked out overall, because I basically waited until the last minute, and I'm just like, oh no, what am I going to get this guy? What am I going to do? And then I thought, like, wait, I talked to him before. He said that he was buying his son a 3DS for Christmas. And because we had this whole conversation that we just randomly bumped into each other at the mall, like after, well, he was done work, but it was just lunchtime for me. Because, I mean, he does the morning show, but yeah, I'm just like, we were just chatting away, chatting away about how he bought a 3DS on Boxing Day. Well, not Boxing Day, but Black Friday. It's essentially the same thing. It's equivalent. And I'm just like, hey, there's a lot of really good games that, I mean, you might enjoy on it, and so on, and we just, like, we're talking about that, and how Legend of Zelda, blah, 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 but that made me think of, later on, Because, I mean, I had, during Comic-Con, man, this is a really, like, all over the place story, but during Comic-Con, I went ahead and bought Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, the like 3D remake kind of thing, but it's not. Like, I bought that for myself, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I'll probably play it when I'm here in Red Deer. Not really. So I just had it unopened in my room here, and I thought, you know what? I had a different conversation before with this guy that, like, he really loves, like, it's one of his favorite games ever is Snake Eater. So I was thinking, like, this is perfect. I wasted all my time looking for presents when the best present of all was right in front of me. So, yeah, I gave him that. I think it was around $20 because that was the limit for the Secret Santa. And I had to buy myself a new copy. I mean, it's worth $20 American. Not Canadian necessarily, because, I mean, Canadian dollar, it's worth nothing. The Canadian dollar is terrible, but that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You gotta look on the bright side for even the people that are losing their jobs in oil and whatever, blah, blah, blah. They can figure it out. They just have to believe. With thumbs ups, yeah. But, yeah, so I bought myself another copy, and I'm just, like, getting it off of Amazon for, like, $30. But, I mean, still, I think it was $20 at the time, back before the Canadian dollar sucked, so he was really happy about the present that I gave him, so I'm 2 for 2 for, like, good gifts to give for Secret Santas, and I'm happy about that, and I'm just, like, really staring into my viewfinder thing on the screen, because, I mean, I'm just, like, I'm really, really red and pink and purple right now, or whatever. Maybe if I, like... Huh? No, I still didn't fix the coloration. I need to find out a way of how to change the settings on my camera for, like, maybe not ISO values or anything like that, but I need to figure out, like, values for everything else. Color values. Need to do some HTML. But, yeah, and then, like, the present that I got for the Secret Santa, I have it somewhere over there, that I got a box. The box! And I opened it up, and I'm, like, that was the best thing, is that when we were actually going to give our presents for the Secret Santa, like, everybody was, like, passing them out to, like, okay, this is for you, and then, like, I just had mine at the table, but I think maybe they were passing it out, and I already just, like, kind of walked away, because I'm like, oh no, I don't actually have the name of who I'm giving mine to on the box, so I'm going to just walk away, bring that over, give it to him in person, and just go, hey, this is my present to you. This is something dealing with what we said before, with 3DSs and so on, and he was really happy still. And then I walked back, and, like, nobody was opening their Secret Santa gifts, so I'm just like, I'm doing it. And I just started opening it. So, I mean, you have to be the first one. You just have to be. Everybody has to be the first one. All the time. So that's what I did. I opened it up, and I'm just like, oh, there's Lindor chocolates in here. And that was pretty amazing, considering, like, I still don't know who gave me the gift, but they know me better than I actually said anything to at the station, because nobody knows that, like, Lindor chocolates are, like, my favorite kind of chocolate, pretty much. Unless, of course, they watched my one video about, I think that was the best Mantis mech ever. I know it was part 19, I believe, of Halo 4 multiplayer. I need to actually look at the title. I don't remember. I don't remember the titles to my own videos, but it was something dealing with a Mantis. Almost perfect Mantis mech. Fun times. Ahoy. There's no ahoy in it, I know that for sure, but yeah, so there was Lindor chocolates for one, and then the other thing was a $20 EB Games gift card, so that was pretty good. I was happy with that. I mean, the EB Games gift card makes sense, because, I mean, I just play video games, and, I mean, I'm not a fan exactly of EB Games for the most part, because, I mean, they overprice things, and corporations and so on, blah! But, you know, it's just, I'm happy with it, because, I mean, $20 off of a game, that's decent. Now it costs only the amount that the Americans pay. But cheaper anyway, because, I mean, still, our dollar's worth nothing. So it's still cheaper for us after the fact than whatever. So that's the way that it went for the Secret Santa, and man, that was a good Christmas party, just drinking wine and eating Lindor chocolates. That's what I did that day. It was a pretty momentous occasion kind of day. So then the other day, like after that, I was done my practicum internship thing, whatever you want to call it. And what it is that, like, just think of the nicest place you've ever been to, like your friend's house or whatever, I don't know. Well, like, this place was spectacular. The party that we went to, like, at least according to the people that I was with, they were saying, like, this is probably worth, like, over $1 million for the house. And it was pretty nice. I gotta say, it probably would have been worth that much, because it was, like, when you walk in, there's just, like, a massive staircase right down the middle, and there's, like, a fireplace right behind it. Then over to the left is the master bedroom that it looks like it's out of a show house room. I don't know what you call that. Like, one of those fantasy houses that you go into, you're just like, I want to get this as a lottery prize. Don't remember the proper term, but I mean, it's probably because I don't pay attention to lotteries. I just don't remember the names. So that's what it was. And it's a really fancy master bedroom, and they have, like, I don't know why they don't have a door on the bathroom. That's why I was concerned, like, when somebody was saying, like, yeah, just use the bathroom up here. And I'm just like, you said there's no door, and that's kind of weird, but then, like, what? But there was a door, like, there's a toilet with a door on it inside the bathroom that has, like, another thing in it, and it was confusing. It's kind of like public toilets, but not, in a way, you know? Because, I mean, it's an individual stall, but in your home. But it's really fancy at the same time. If it can really be described that way. I don't know, but they also had a bar in their house, so, I mean, that basically tells you something right there. I mean, most people that have any kind of bar things are pretty fancy, right? I don't know. I've been to another person's house before that they just kind of had, like, they built, I want to say that it's like cabinets from IKEA. They just kind of got cabinets and then just, like, put a tabletop over top of it and just, like, yeah, this is my bar. And then they just pull out alcohol and put it up there. So, yeah. It was a fancy house. I wanted to possibly say, like, how much time have I wasted so far? Oh, man. So much wasted time. Wasted. That's another thing to be saying, possibly. That, like, wasting can be a good thing, I still think. Screw you, Surge Hunter. Because there was the whole conversation that we had on Dungeon Defenders 2 that, like, oh, you wasted so many of your mana on me, and, you know, he was just so upset about it. But wasting can be a good thing, okay? Wasting is good. In the right situation, wasting is good. At least in my opinion, maybe. But, yeah, so there's that thing. What was I going to say again? Yeah. So there's this one place in the house, well, there's this one room that they called a theater. And people are always, like, everybody else at the party was thinking, like, man, this is such a nice little thing. I want a place like this in my house. And I'm just thinking, like, I walk in, there's a regular couch, and then there's just, like, maybe a 50-inch screen TV on the wall. I mean, it wasn't even that big either. And I'm just like, you call this a theater? I know, like, I have two friends that have theaters, like, with actual theater seats and, like, a big projector screen on the wall. So, I mean, it's like a theater that is more spectacular than this. So, what? I mean, my friends don't really have that nice of a house in general. I mean, they have a nice house, but I'm not saying that their houses are worth as much, and it's, like, not, I was going to say marble floors or anything like that, but there were fancy floors and stuff like that. This was a very expensive house. Just their theater room was inadequate, okay? The theater room was not as fancy as the theater rooms I've seen before. So, that's one knock on the house for being like that, but I mean, it was still probably like $1 million house, whatever. FantasyHomes.com. That's probably actually a thing. Don't go there. It'll give you viruses. But, yeah. So that was basically the way that my Christmas partying kind of thing turned up. I do have a couple stories just randomly about it, but I mean, I talked about that during Halo, so I mean, I don't know if it's really worth saying again, other than, like, I can go more in depth about this guy that was shaking my hand 1,000,000 times. Because, I mean, I think that's essentially a way of telling if somebody is drunk, maybe? Is it depending on how many times they shake your hand? Because, I mean, if you shake somebody's hand once, I mean, that's normal. Twice, I mean, that's fairly normal too, because, I mean, you could shake your hand, like, once to start a conversation, and then, like, you shake their hand again when you're leaving. Anything more than that is kind of a weird amount of times for shaking their hand. Because, I mean, I think I shook this guy's hand, like, 5 times in, like, a span of 3 minutes. Like, every sentence, he's just like, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm just going to still say that he was drunk. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe that's just the way he did things, and, like, I was at the time, I didn't know what to do. I was just thinking, like, okay, I'm just going to continually do this. I don't know. It's maybe a normal thing. But then after that, I'm just thinking, like, that was a really weird conversation. Oh, well. That's just the way it is now. So, that was fun. But then there's also the other story that I had to tell, at least from that Christmas party, that I don't know if this guy was, like, messing with me or not, because, I mean, it was the owner of the house. Like, he was manning the bar a little bit, and he was telling me that, like, well, as you can possibly tell with that one video before with, like, it's the 1 million view special where I was using, like, pliers and stuff like that to pop open beer bottles. Like, I've never actually used a proper, like, can opener. It's not a can opener, but it's a bottle opener. So I was opening that, and then, like, I had the bottle cap with me, and I'm just like, I don't actually know as well if do you usually throw these in the garbage, or do you recycle them? Do you use them as currency? You know, I don't understand what you use bottle caps for. So I was asking him that, and he's just like, oh, you just throw it right on top of this cabinet, right above the fridge. And I'm just thinking, like, maybe there's, like, a garbage back there or something. Maybe that's what he's trying to say. Because, I mean, with the mirror that's placed right next to it. Because, I mean, all good bars in your house, in your $1 million house, you have to have a mirror next to the bar. So, I mean, it looked like there was a room behind it or something like that. Or something behind the space. But he's just like, yeah, just throw it on top of this cabinet. And I'm just like, okay? So, yeah, throw it up there. And then, like, later on in the night, you know, I just kind of walked up to the fridge later on, because, I mean, I think that they were kind of entertaining their guests, you know, talking to people, etc. And I'm just like, I am going to go and open up the fridge, get myself a drink, and then pop the cap. And, like, I think that people were thinking that I was strange because I was throwing things up there afterward, but I'm just like, hey, I was told to do this. He said there's, like, a pile up there. So, it's not my fault. I'm not screwing things over, okay? So, that's the way it was. Oh, boy. I hope that I didn't just, like, ruin everything, or at least ruin my amazing ironclad reputation of being the best around. And no one's ever going to get me down, because, I mean, I know so much about Star Wars. Because that's my transition to talking about Star Wars, because The Force Awakens just came out. Whoa! Enthusiasm. That's as much enthusiasm as I need to do, because, I mean, that's pretty much as much. I actually, no, I get excited about things, but it's hard to get excited about something after the fact, because, I mean, I was already excited before. How do I get excited again? I have to get myself back in that mental state, and I'm not an actor, or else I would be in Star Wars. Totally. I have connections with George Lucas. Yeah, so that's the way it is. That's my saying of the day. That's the way it is. And so Star Wars, before The Force Awakens came out, I was watching all of the movies again. My computer screen's going and falling asleep. But yeah, I watched all the movies again from The Phantom Menace all the way to Return of the Jedi. And through that, like, it's really nice seeing all the Star Wars movies again, like, when I'm older now. Because, I mean, I used to watch them every week. Like, I pretty much have them memorized from that, but I didn't realize... You don't really realize the impact of some of the lines and stuff like that until you're a little bit older and you can understand it more. Because, I mean, it's hard to understand the Senate without being older. Yeah? Maybe? Maybe not? Oh, well. So, there's that. And then, like... This is partially one of the problems of being, like, in radio now and, like, doing producing at all. Because when I was watching Episode 4... the original movie, the best movie still. I noticed that the compression on some of the audio and just like the audio in general, some of the words just don't sound very good. Like all the other Star Wars movies are really good. Obviously the prequels would have good sound design. Would good work properly there? I don't know. It doesn't really matter for English. Let's just say screw you to English for right now. And like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, it's still sound direction. But like the original one, the sound effects were all brilliant and all that, but the voice could have been compressed better. Like it could have been EQ'd better. It could have been like they probably should have checked their audio like when they're doing the boom mics that it could have been better. It could have been better for the original Star Wars, but I mean, what are you going to say? Because I mean, it was 1977. It could be better, but it could also be worse. So, I'm happy with that, I guess. Both happy and unhappy that I actually have the ear of a producer now that I can tell, like, yeah, that audio could have been better. Balls. That's both for what I do and also for, of course, Star Wars. That could have been better. Balls. Sadness. Oh well. But, yeah, so I watched all those, and then, like, the day after I watched all the Star Wars movies, I went to see The Force Awakens. I was a little bit late on it, because I watched it, like, the Monday after, and it's a pretty good movie. I don't want to say any spoilers, of course, but, I mean, it's a good movie. I need to see it again, because I saw it originally in 3D, and, like, I don't know if it's like that in any other 3D movie, but, I mean, this is the first time in 3D that, like, I felt like I could see around an object, and I'm just like, that's very 3D. That's weird. The speeder thing that Rey has is just like, that you see in the trailers. I mean, you've probably seen the trailers if you haven't seen the movie already. Like, the speeder, you could see around it. You could see, like, it looks like a 3D thing, and it freaked me out a little bit, and I'm just like, what the heck is happening here? Why is it 3D? So... that was like my only experience with the 3D, and then after that I don't notice it anymore. Because I mean, that's generally the way it works for movies for me, is that like, I don't notice the 3D. It just doesn't, I don't notice it. So, that's the way it is. And so that's the way it is. And I'm probably going to go see it again in 2D, because there's a lot of people that did see it in 2D, and then they're just like, I want to see it in 3D. And then me, personally, I'm just like, I saw it in 3D, and now I want to see it in 2D, just to kind of compare and contrast. Maybe I can pick out a bit more detail in 2D because I'm not like having the glasses on my face and just like hurting my nose. Luckily enough, maybe like I think they're fixing their technology dealing with their glasses that they put on your face for 3D, because I mean, they don't hurt as bad nowadays. Before, they would really just like irritate my nose and just like my eyes. Because I mean, you know, if there's like something that's like, you know, right up close to your face, but it's not touching, and it's just like right there, you get this one weird feeling, and just like, ugh, I don't know how to describe it, but I mean, it just feels awful that there's just something there, but you can't do anything about it, and just like, I want to punch something. So, like, but you can't do anything. That's the thing, because I mean, you need the 3D glasses. So that's just my one rant that makes no sense, because I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't know what's with me in just saying that over and over again today, but That's usually the way it is. For each recording, you can probably pick out a certain sentence or phrase, one word, one vision, that I pretty much just say over and over and over again, because repetition is key in life and in videos and learning. I don't know. I mean, it's true, but it just happens. My brain comes back to certain things. It like short circuits its way to like, this is what needs to be done. Maybe. I don't know how it works. I'm not a neurologist. I think that's a proper term for it. 'Cause neuro is like for your brain, like neurogas and whatnot. Makes your brain think good. Makes your brain think good. Neurogas. Totally doesn't kill you or anything like that for the neurotoxins that they really love to do in the Portal games. But onward and upward. Man, I talked about like all the Christmas stuff already in Star Wars. That's like my main 2 topics. And I can't read. Is that 30 minutes? 30 minutes? Maybe? Man, I am amazed by that actually. Because I mean, it is actually around 30 minutes, and like maybe from being in radio, I'm able to be more concise with my thoughts. And I don't just ramble on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I think I'm trying to mix 2 songs together in that, but whatever. Top 40. I'm guessing that's one song that I'm thinking of as top 40, or all of them. Because that's what happens when you're in a radio station for 4 months. Well, I guess I was at the Sunny place again, too, that they have oldies. Hits from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Actually, that's not right. It's 60s, 70s, and 80s. But that's not even their slogan anymore anyway, so balls to you. So, yeah, when you're in a station that's top 40 anyway, you probably just get it all stuck in your head. And it does, unfortunately enough. By the way, if I ever hear Hello by Adele again, like, that will be too many times. I don't want to hear it ever again. I hate that song so much. Like, I didn't like it to begin with, but when you hear it about like 100 times, the 100th time is around when you're just like, I want to murder somebody. Why is this song playing? Hello from your death. I think I heard this song 1,000 times, and so on. It's not even close to the lyrics, but I mean, I don't want to think of the lyrics because it's already getting stuck in my head. So there's that, but I probably should start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning of radio practicums and make our way to the beginning, to the future, which is now. I mixed that up. Whatever. It still makes sense. Because, I mean, I have a lot of time to do this in. And also my random rants. Because, I mean, I like to do my rants. Because I can do some rant sums for Adele's life. Anyway. So, when I started the thing in radio for this internship, I just kind of went around over and over and over, just like to each individual department. Like, there was the creative, you know, you talk to them just like, here, this is what we do. We write scripts and stuff. Cool. And then you go over and like you're in the on-air studio and they're just like, okay, this is how you use the Scott system. Blah, 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 blah. Touchscreen. And then you go into production and you're just like, oh man, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to work with computers and audio because that's pretty much what I do anyway with YouTube. I mean, you use audio a lot in YouTube, and I'm learning to be better at doing audio stuff from doing stuff with producing for commercials. So yeah, that's the way it was. I kind of went around, and then I went over to the other station, and we just kind of talked and sat in with the producer again. So that was the first little bit. After that, I went to a few just random, like, show things. Because I know that I was at the bridal show, and that was one thing. We handed out little, like, you know those candy ring pop things that you have? Well, we were handing those out to brides, and we were just like, hey, have a wedding ring pop and so on. And they're just like, oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. And I'm just like, yeah, wedding ring pops. Come get them while they're still alive. Well, while you're still alive or something. I don't know. Why did I go that turn? It's probably because of Adele. It's all Adele's fault. Even though Adele wasn't even that, like, that song didn't exist at that point in time. It was probably still being produced by whatever the production studio that Adele does all night long. So, yeah, that was a pretty eventful day. I was wearing my Legend of Zelda belt buckle. I'm not even wearing a belt right now, but I was wearing that belt buckle, and, like, there was some lady that just came up to me, and she's just like, oh, I really like your belt. And then, like, her friend that was with her, she's just like, how come you're looking down there? Because, you know, belts, they're pretty close to crotches and stuff like that. And she's just like, I mean, the belt stands out. And, like, she felt all bad all of a sudden. I'm just like, my work here is complete. I'm a terrible person. But not really at the same time, because I'm just wearing a belt. What are you going to expect? And also, that's a lot to say. That's a lot to say for somebody. I mean, if somebody looks at a belt, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. It's kind of weird when you're just, like, talking to somebody and they just keep looking down at your belt, probably to try to decipher what it is if they aren't like a Legend of Zelda fan or a Deadpool fan or a Luigi fan. If you don't know what Luigi is, I feel bad for you, maybe? I don't know, but yeah. So people might have been looking down a lot, at least for that. But I mean, that's the only time that's weird, is if somebody just keeps looking down at your belt and you're just like, do I have to explain what this belt is to you? Do you not know what Legend of Zelda, the Triforce, specifically the one that's like Twilight Princess kind of Triforce stylings is? Because I mean, there's the HD remake that's coming out. Oh man, HD. Because I mean, it doesn't really look that much different than the one on the Wii, but I mean, it's probably, well, Wii and GameCube, because it was both, but I think that when Twilight Princess comes out, it's going to be more, it's going to be more noticeable when you're actually playing the game itself, because I mean, YouTube compression, it makes things not look as good as it probably should. I mean, that's what I thought with, like, Mario Kart 8. I mean, it looks good in YouTube videos, but I mean, it looks way better when you're actually playing it, and I'm just like, this is so good. Best graphics ever. Well, maybe not best, because that still goes to Halo 4. Not Halo 5, but Halo 4. I don't know. Actually, no, that's not true. I think it was, like, Modern Warfare 2 had, like, some of the best graphics ever. It still is to this day, because, I mean, it's just so clean and respectable. Modern Warfare 2, I mean, I don't understand how, but, I mean, it looks good to this day. But then again, I still think that Majora's Mask, the original, on the N64 looks good. If you have a clean, clear TV with a proper resolution size, Majora's Mask, that's just still the best. It's still one of the best looking games in my opinion, because I mean, it doesn't matter how jaggy things are, as long as there's not like static backgrounds like in Ocarina of Time that you're walking on a 2D pixelated background. There was none of that in Majora's Mask. It all looked good. So I went on a random tangent about Legend of Zelda and stuff like that. But, I mean, I should probably be talking about video games more, because, I mean, I haven't really done that. But, you know, people want to listen and hear about what I did for the past 4 months, because, I mean, radio is a crazy business. Because, I mean, I also went to the Home Reno show. That was pretty cool. The Home Reno show in Red Deer. If you went to the Home Reno show, and if you didn't see me, you're a dick. Straight up, you're a dick. Because, I mean, I was right next to the doors. Whether you walk in and see me or you walk out and see me, you're going to see me. And if you didn't talk to me and enter the ballot to win $1,500 with this one company that I'm not going to mention, because, I mean, that's advertising for them and I'm not getting paid by them, so yeah. But, I mean, if you didn't do that, then there's something wrong with you. That, and also, that was a good day, at least for, like, the Sunday, which was the last day. I was there the entire day long. Like, from 10 o'clock that it was open until 5, I think it was. 10 till 5 sounds pretty normal for a day of home renoing and sitting at the show. But people, you know, they're coming in and stuff like that. It was probably right after I got in there that there was a guy, like, walking around that was at the show saying, like, So, I heard that there is free coffee today, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of sitting here listening to music. I'm in radio. What do I know? So, like, he's just like, okay, well, actually, I think it was that he was just kind of walked around and he was talking to me about that, looking for it. And then I said, like, because I mean, part of conversation, partially because I mean, I wanted him to leave so I can just sit by myself again. But then again, I kind of liked talking to him. It was pretty good. Awkwardness. But, yeah, I just kind of ended the conversation with, like, yeah, if you find it, let me know. So you gotta pretend that you're a coffee drinker just to appease the crowd and so on. But, yeah, like, at one point he just, like, walks by and he has, like, an extra cup of coffee and he's just like, here, have this. And I'm just like, thanks. And then in my head, I'm thinking, like, man, I did not want this at all, but, I mean, I'll just drink it anyway, because, I mean, I have a long day, and I might as well. I don't have very much food with me right now either, so, I mean, coffee works as food. It's like that one GTA 5 commercial, that cocaine works as food. What was it? Legalize medicinal cocaine. Or something along those lines. Proposition 208, I think it is. Probably not the right number, but my memory's coming back. That's the one thing as well that I just randomly want to mention, that still going and waking up at like 7 o'clock every morning, blah, 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 or 7:30, depending on the day. Because sometimes I like to sleep in a little bit more, despite the fact it gives me less time to get ready, and I'd be like a minute early for work every day. And surprisingly enough, my boss, because I mean, I think you can still call him a boss, because I mean, even if it is an internship and I wasn't getting paid, doesn't really matter to me, because I mean, I'm fine with not getting paid. I don't need money, come on. But yeah, like, he was saying that I was like, you're on time. Actually, no, you're not on time. You're early every day. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, totally early every day by about like 1 minute, 2 minutes. Sometimes I was 5 minutes early. 5 whole minutes early. That is pretty spectacular, man. Because, I mean, if you can be 5 minutes early to something, you're sitting good gold, like Pony Boy. So, yeah. It was pretty bad. But I don't know where I was going to go with that, other than Home Reno Show. That was another thing that I went to for at least a special event. I don't think there was anything else, at least for events, that like I was at for like promotions wise. Because I mean, that's all I did for promotions, at least the entire time that I was in my internship, is that my promotions work was just manning a booth at an event. That's all it was. Other than that, I mostly just like focused on like production for making commercials, and also like later on, this one person, unfortunately enough, had to like go on a medical leave in the creative department, so they kind of just threw me in, and I was doing the job, almost all of the job. I didn't do anything with clients. I didn't do the client stuff. No, because I mean, I was afraid that like I might screw things up and just like, so Kano, yeah, they would totally call me Kano. So Kano, you kind of we can't have this client anymore because you said something you shouldn't have. You kind of made a racist remark. You made a bunch of mistakes. You can't do this. I'm sorry. Like, even though that wouldn't even happen, but I mean, they might misconstrue what I'm saying over the phone. I'm always afraid of saying things on the phone because of that. Who knows what they're gonna do? So there's that. And yeah. I didn't talk to clients, but I mean, I did the writing for creative, and I learned how to use a program called DeltaFlex. It was essentially using like DOS. That's essentially how old it is. Because I mean, you could use your mouse to click on things every once in a while, but for the most part, it's all just like, to get through this screen, press enter. Press enter again. Press enter, escape, enter. Press on the arrow keys. Press a few numbers to type in, then enter, numbers, enter. So it's just like a database thing, and yeah, I learned that. That's pretty good for creative. I'm creative. Totally creative. A lot of my scripts that I wrote for clients were all just like straight reads. Because I mean, one of them was actually pretty creative, or maybe it was like two. It's like one of them I thought like, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this script. It's like a cheesy, fake, movie announcer kind of guy, and I'm just like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. So there was that, and then there was like another one that I wrote that had to be changed because it was apparently when you're advertising for food, you don't want to have a 3-2-1 sale. You want to call it the $1, $2, $3 sale, or $1, $2, $3, something along those lines. But I didn't name the sale properly in my ad, so it had to be changed. But it still was cool to me. Cool, yeah. Not really, but that was the other thing I did. It was mostly just writing commercials. But I produced some really cool things, though. I'm still not too sure what I'm going to be doing with those, because, I mean, I probably should put them on SoundCloud and like, make them public and then use that in a way for my demo moving forward for when I'm trying to get a job in radio for production, because, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for as a main thing. I mean, I could do creative at this point, because, I mean, I have the experience, and that's still how I think I'm getting more concise with the way I'm saying things, is that when you're writing a script for something, well, anything really, you cut out as many of the unnecessary words as possible. I mean, you still want to make it flow, and you want to make it sound normal, but you don't want to make it like redundant, to say the least. Redundant, just very wordy, which I like to make things wordy because I'm a wordy person, but now I'm starting to get better, just like, okay, this is unnecessary. Don't do that. Put some verbs here. Make people visit this website. And, call to actions. Despite the fact I think that the call to action on a lot of those things they weren't the best, but I mean, I guess that's the new age of call to action in script writing. So, I mean, I did what I was told, and it worked out. I don't know what I'm going to do for at least the production side of it. Like, because I want to, like, you guys should probably hear them, like, if I could. So, I mean, like, at some point in the future, if you're watching this, like, somewhere down the road, I might have the stuff that I uploaded to SoundCloud for a demo. I might kind of put that into the description or something like that, if I remember. But maybe not currently when this video first goes up. So, at some point. Because, I mean, I'm proud of a few of the commercials I've made. A lot of the commercials are still very straight read. This is how you make a commercial in radio. First, you get somebody to voice. Yeah? Then, what you do is you take the voice, maybe turn it up a little bit, just to start off with. Because, I mean, if you want to. It doesn't really matter too much. But, you take out the breaths, just to make it nice and tight and proper, that you're going to be ready for when you do throw it into a multi-track. And then, after that, you do throw it into a multi-track and put a music bed, whether you already have a bed for the client, or if you want to go and, like, find something new that's perfect for this kind of situation. If it's Christmassy, because it's a Christmas kind of ad or something. Which also, that's my way of doing a Christmas ad. What you do, get any bed. It doesn't really matter. As long as the bed sounds good, that's the most important thing. Then what you do to make it Christmassy, you just get jingle bells and you throw them underneath. So then it sounds Christmassy, because, I mean, it's jingle bells underneath a bed and talking. And, yeah. But, like, I guess you do before you throw it into a multi-track, you usually compress it. Compress the voice, normalize, normal kind of things like that. Normalizing is normal now. That's what I found out. I've never normalized audio until I went into radio, like, in the real world. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, normalizing. Cool. Didn't actually know about that. So, yeah, that's one problem. I want to go into specifics, but there's, like, not really any specifics that I can go into other than, like, I guess I did make an ad that was, like, saying like a lot. That's actually one of the ads that I should be writing. I should write an ad that is, 99% like, and then that will target our audience, because I mean that's how they talk, and I will smack my pop filter all over the place. So that's what I should do. Yeah, that's a plan that I should just write down for the future of whenever I'm going to write another ad. Not a bad idea, but yeah. So I wrote this one that was essentially a soap opera. What did I say that I wrote it? I produced it. Yeah, that I had the other people voice it, and it was amazing. It sounded pretty cool, because all you have to do to make something sound like a soap opera is just have really overly dramatic people voicing it, and then, like, you just get an organ kind of background. Because, I mean, organs are soap opera-y. Yeah, and so on and so forth. And then you get the big, amazing announcer at the end of going, "What will Larry do?" I just love that one guy's voice that we had. It was just... It's when you think of a perfect radio announcer voice, it's this guy. Whenever you hear like something on the radio for like a commercial, it's this guy. It's that's what it sounds like in my opinion. I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could voice like him. But yeah, I just need to kind of replicate it. Need to replicate his voicing style, and then I will be the guy. Because I want to be the guy. Speaking of video games, yeah, because I think that there's not really much that I can't go very much into specifics. Other than I did some cool things, and yeah, because I went to the shows and whatnot. Also, I guess like I did meet some famous people. Because I mean, if you think that Tyler Shaw, like that one Canadian artist, is famous, I met him. Well, I mean, like other than that, there was like Headley came in. I didn't meet them, but they came into the studio, and same with like Mad Child. Never heard of him before, but you know, apparently like rap or something like that. And then there was also like there was a phone interview when I was there that like with our city. So there's those things, but let's transition away from the practicum though and into something that I can talk for like 4 minutes about or something like that. Because my rants about video games, because I mean I haven't talked about video games enough. Because I mean during this entire time that I was doing my practicum, I didn't get to play very many games, it seems like. I bought a ton. Because, I mean, I bought Bloodborne. Because I played a little bit of that on my own. I really wanted to record it, but recording on PS4 is just like... I can't plug... If you plug in your headphones into the controller of a PS4, it makes it so that you don't get audio through your computer. So I'm just like... I can't have two audio sources at once, so I mean, I don't want to hear the delay because I'm just not used to it anymore. Because I mean, listening to a game with 2 seconds of delay, especially one that's like Bloodborne, you need to have some fast reflexes and fast audio, and you're just like, you can't, it's just not possible. But like I bought that because I have a Darth Vader PS4, Battlefront, I have Fallout 4, I bought a bunch more Wii U games, and like I haven't got to play them, and it's very disappointing. But that kind of blends into the topic of like, let's see, where was that? I think it was not at EB Games, because I went to EB Games and there was another really, really dumb thing that somebody said there. But when I went to Walmart one of the times, and that was when I was getting Metal Gear Solid 5. That was before my practicum, because it was like the week before it, I believe. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I would like to get this game. It's probably at the till here. And they're just like, oh yeah. And so they were just like putting up like, they're just making a little bit of small talk, saying like, oh yeah, well, video games are getting pretty expensive now, aren't they? Whenever somebody says that games are getting more expensive, like I have to just shut up. I essentially have to shut up, because I mean, I don't want to just like, I could talk about that for the longest time of just like saying like, no, you are wrong. You are wrong. They have not gotten more expensive. They gotten cheaper. They are much cheaper than they used to be. Because I mean, I spent $80. It was $80 for Majora's Mask when I bought it on the N64. That was $80. Games went down to $60 for the past like, I don't know how many years. They were cheap. So, and they're still not even back up to $80 again. They probably should have went up in price. They shouldn't have gone down in price, at least by the way that inflation works usually. So, video games are cheaper than they used to be. Especially if you have things like Steam sales that are just like constantly you get games, like 100 games for $20, and you're just like, woohoo, and so on. But like, games are not expensive. They're really cheap. And if you think that they're expensive, I mean, you're just wrong. You're wrong. Screw you, Walmart person. You don't know what you're talking about. Games they have got a lot cheaper. I don't know why, like, gotten does not sound like it's a proper word at all in the English language. So whenever I say it, I'm just like, but still, they're cheaper. They're cheaper. I think I spent like probably $60 at least still on Super Mario 64 as well. And that was when it was cheap. It went down in price, and we're just like, we want it. We need to get not Majora's Mask, because I just said that, but we need to get Super Mario 64 because it is on sale for $60. That is amazing. So, still, things are cheaper. Things are cheaper. They're not expensive. Not expensive for video games. You're wrong. Wrong, I say. Ah. So that was my little rant that I had in my head and also right now about how games are more expensive, but they're cheaper. But so I mean, they're just like $75 in Canada. They went up because of the Canadian dollar sucks, but it's still probably, I think it is around the equivalent from what my math was of what the Americans are paying anyway. So I have no problem with paying still $75. I'd be still paying like not 100, but I mean I'd still be fine with paying 80 or 90 and whatever. Because I mean I do still buy collector's editions of games, and they are like over 100. So if you want a game, you might as well buy it. That's the way I think of it, even if it is expensive, even though it's not. Let's see, how fast can I do my rant about EB Games? Oh, man. Because, well, I think it's not really a rant as much as, like, it's hilarious because I go into the store, like, when I come to a new place, I kind of think, like, I need to go shopping for video games, see what they have, because, I mean, each individual town you go to has a different selection of video games, because, I mean, sometimes the tastes of the people in that community are different, so they just don't buy a certain game, and they just have a big stock of it. Or like they accidentally bought a big stock of a different game or something like that, and they just didn't really think it through, etc. There's so many reasons of why some communities will have more games than others of certain kinds, or they just don't sell as many video games in that place. Who knows? But I was just going to EB Games, seeing what I could find, and like when I went to the till buying these things, I had a couple Xbox 360 ones, and the guy's just like, so would you like the protection thing on your disc, the normal thing that people always ask, like, you can spend an extra $5 and you get your disc protected for life, whatever. And I'm just like, nah, it's fine. I don't really need it, because I mean, I never do the disc protection, because I mean, if I broke a disc, it's my own fault. But this one guy just says, like, are you sure? Because I mean, it's an Xbox 360 game, and like at that point, I'm just thinking in my head, like, what is that supposed to mean? Are Xbox 360 games supposed to break easier? No, unless you have an original Xbox 360 that melts discs, or if you have an original Xbox 360 that scratches discs, or if you have an original Xbox 360 in general, which you shouldn't have. You should probably, like, at least at this point in time, own a Pro, an Elite, or of course a Slim, or like the Super Slim. I don't know. There was like another version after the Slim that came out for the 360, I believe. I don't remember what it was. There's been so many different renditions that you should never, at this point, your old, original Xbox 360 probably has gotten the red ring of death. It probably is dead. There's a very, very slim chance that anybody owns one, at least is currently using it instead of just like buying a new one. There's a slim chance, at least as far as I know, in my heart, that's probably the way it works. So, I'm just like, what the heck? What is wrong with you? That's what I was thinking. Like, I was slightly angry at the time too, because I'm just like, what? You want me to spend more money for something that your belief system thinks is true when it's not? I've never broken an Xbox 360 game from me having a problem. And it sounded like he was saying that like the console itself breaks discs, and that is completely false. I've never had any of my 360 games get broken from the game, like the console, or any of my consoles breaking my discs. It's never happened. It's like, if it does happen, then you probably have a faulty console. Because I mean, the vast majority of people don't have discs that get broken from a console. Oh, just that's one of my rants because I think it's funny and just like, what the heck is wrong with you? Oh boy. So I think that's pretty much it. I talked about a good thing with, like, I talked about Christmas parties, I talked about Star Wars, I talked about the practicum. I probably should have read my hand, because I didn't say anything about, like, while I was doing the practicum stuff, I actually did have a bunch of new food. Like, I've never tried out, like, Thai food, or, like, I've never went to pita, extreme pita, or, like, I haven't had any of these other foods, but, like, some things with even the taste of red deer. We had food at the station, like, every day, and we just like, oh, there's something new. I'm just going to have that for lunch. So, yeah, I didn't have to pack a lunch for, like, a week, and it was so good. Just had a bunch of amazing food. Well, it was amazing still, in quotation marks, because, I mean, some of it was just like, I don't know. But a lot of food out there. I used to, like, be a very, very picky eater that I would just, like, never eat anything new or try anything new, because, I mean, if I know something's good, why bother trying something new? That's the general ideology. But if it's free, then I'll try something new. That's essentially what I think of now. And I mean, I had a bunch of free stuff, so why not eat it? And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Most of it was pretty good. Because a lot of food out there, there's a reason usually why people eat this kind of food that's strange looking or something like that, or just like, Mexican food, what is this? I don't know, I've never had that before. But yeah, it's like, it's perfectly normal, it tastes good, eat it. That's generally the way it is now. I've been over an hour for a little bit now, I think. Depending on if I have to edit something down, because I did, like, blow my nose at one point, I think, and stuff like that, but I think that's the end of my one-man podcast for the month, or whatever long. I'm going to try to do these a little bit more often again. Whenever I find the time. Who knows what's going to happen in the next while, because, I mean, I need to find a job in radio, and then once I find a job, then things might settle down a little bit, or they might go even more insane. But since I don't have a job currently, I have time to do things like this, and I'm just like, woo, woo woo. Maybe I'll get hired at some point with the place that I was just currently working at, because, I mean, it seems like they rather enjoyed my company of helping them out, so I made a good impression, apparently. I just do my work, and that's the way it is. Do your work, don't do anything else, and you're going to succeed. Also, apparently, I have a positive attitude. Even though I'm a fairly pessimistic person, but at the same time, I'm very optimistic. I'm an optimistic pessimist. It's kind of an oxymoron, but that pretty much describes me. I am an oxymoron. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I think that's it for now, and I'll see you next time for another one of these crazy things where maybe if I'm in a new place, I'll have better lighting. If not, well, I'm orange. I am from Jersey Shore, unfortunately enough. I'm just so orange, look at me. But yeah. Goodbye for now. I don't know what to do, so I just pick up my phone. That's the end.